6% act out sexually with minors.
6% of what?
6% of all priests.
How many priests are there in Boston?
About 1,500. 1% is 15. 6% is 90.
90 priests.
Is that possible?
It sure is. The 2015 picture Spotlight reveals how a team of investigative journalists discovered wide-scale abuse by Catholic priests in Boston. It was the first time a case like this came to light, and it would later turn out that priests had been abusing kids the world over for a long time. The reporters received a Pulitzer Prize for their work. Spotlight is a true masterpiece that would end up winning the Academy Award for Best Motion Picture of the Year. It's especially films like this, about real events that changed the world, that often make the most impact.
What makes, I think, this movie so important, especially in a world that we look for order in, and we expect order from these institutions, and they're the very ones that are creating some of the chaos.
Most people from these poor communities who were very Catholic felt like they were leaving their children in the safest hands possible, and I think that's what makes this such a grotesque tragedy.
When making this film, the director went pretty far to get every last detail right. They built a replica of the Boston Globe's office and brought in reporters who worked there during the investigation. They even arranged the items on the desks like they had them at that time. Actor Michael Keaton plays a journalist named Walter Robinson, and the two met prior to the shoot. When they first saw each other, Michael did an impersonation of Walter that was so accurate, Robinson got scared and asked how Keaton knew so much about him. Mark Ruffalo also met his character, Michael Resendez. In fact, he was present on the set often, and Mark would ask Michael to say lines out loud for him during breaks.
I always find that playing real people is a little bit stranger than fiction, usually. It's much more surprising and much more mysterious. And so I really enjoy it, because there's a tightrope you're walking. In part, you're doing a version of somebody, and you want to do that credibly, but at the same time, you still want to be creative. You still want to have the spark of spontaneity.
If you haven't seen this film, don't expect some tense thriller with chases and murders. Instead, it's really about journalists doing their work. That might sound dull, but it's presented so cleverly it doesn't get boring for a second.
This is a little bit of an homage to investigative journalism and everything that it can be, and maybe a little bit of a swan song, because obviously in our country the journalism industry has been decimated, especially on a local level, and I think this reminds us of the importance of a free press and a supported press in our country.
In the end, Spotlight became a highly acclaimed film that's unlike most titles that hit theaters these days. The research done by the reporters of the Boston Globe led to a whole chain of discoveries about Catholic priests abusing children all around the world. This could very well make it the greatest journalistic reveal in history.
No, Dan, I'm not mad. I'm hungry. I've been talking to you so long, I missed lunch. So I'm gonna go get something to eat. That'll give you about an hour to decide whether you want to be on the right side of this thing or read about it in the paper like everyone else. Bye, Dan.
Like what you see? Subscribe to our channel for more exclusive clips.